Hello, and thank you very much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to learn more about Travel Brilliant's upcoming end of 2025 trip of a lifetime in partnership with Colette to Africa, exploring South Africa, Victoria Falls, and Botswana, December 29th, 2025 to January 12th, 2026, on this small group explorations experience. Our travel advisor extraordinaire, Denise Ambrisco-Maida from Travel Brilliant, is here to help you every step of the way. This is not just confined to Western New York. If you're watching this from a different part of the country, California, Colorado, whatnot here. We want to have you travel on this amazing trip of a lifetime come 2025, early 2026. My name is Kevin Ferguson. I'm the business development manager for all of Western and Central New York State for Colette. I've been proudly working for the company for 18 years, both as a tour manager out on the road in the thick of it all, as well as on our sales force. Home base for me is in Syracuse. People ask me all the time, Kevin, when's the best time to go here or there? After the last few years of missed memories, experiences, and opportunities, the best time to travel is while you can. No way better to experience the ringing in the new year in 2026 than doing it in Africa. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. The name Colette, well, definitely a household name, been around for over a century, to 180 itineraries on all seven continents, 58 different countries, and yes, even sponsor Wheel of Fortune for the past 3 decades. So if it's good enough for Pat and Vanna, Ryan and Vanna, or whoever in Vanna, good enough for you as well. And when it comes to guided travel, you're not going to have to worry about a thing. You have an expert tour manager who's with you the entire time in the destination and staying in with you at the same hotel. We're going to have some expert local guides sprinkled throughout here as well. Of course, here, really ticking off the boxes, both culinary as well as culturally here as well. So you can experience it here and you're not feeling nickeled or dimed in any way. Without further ado, let's get right into this journey here. Again, December 29th to January 12th, 2026. Get ready for this unparalleled journey through the cultural diversity, abundant wildlife of Southern Africa. There's going to be epic scenery, winding coastlines here, all coming together in this incredible adventure. First question I usually get, how's the weather going to be? Well, on average, December 29th in Buffalo, New York, it's about 27 and 30. It is below freezing and it's winter. When we are in Johannesburg, South Africa, on average, we're looking at temperatures about 60 and 78. The same thing here for Victoria Falls, Pilanesberg National Park here, as well as even the Somerset West area here of outside of Cape Town here. We're looking at temperatures about 60 to 85 on average there. Cape Town, right on the water there, 65 and 75 respectively on that. If you want to come in a couple days ahead of time to this part of the world, we do have a 3-night pre-tour extension to Dubai. Average temperature there, 60 and 76 on average here. Come right around Christmas Day there on that. Now, that being said, is that we do have a round trip group pickup from the Buffalo area, making our way over to Toronto. But again, we have ultimately other air gateways, LAX, Florida, wherever. So just reach out to Denise and we will be able to adjust those rates accordingly there, depending on where you live. This is an explorations or small group tour. Maximum size 24 travelers on this, average size 19. And it really is ideal for the culturally curious coming home with stories you just can't wait to tell. And here, usually having accommodations that really perfectly capture the local vibe, meaning our exploration is never going to stop. I will highlight a few of those properties here in this recording. Our tour activity level is 3, and that is active because a few things, mainly the variety of trains and modes of transportation that we're on. Of course, we're going to have some full days of sightseeing. In order to fully experience the wildlife, we'll be traveling in the safari vehicle, which will require climbing in and climbing out frequently, traveling on bumpy roads. So you should be in relatively good health, prepared properly. Of course, and unfortunately, wheelchairs cannot be accommodated on a trip like this here. And those that require assistance walking or need travel, with oxygen tanks, this would not be a proper experience there for you. And we would definitely recommend an alternative itinerary for sure. Tips for visiting Southern Africa. You can see a bunch of them right here on the screen. Major ones that we're going to talk about is clothing, which again will tell you to wear muted clothing when you're out on safari. Save your bright and primary colors here for Cape Town and the wine country here. But really, it's going to be because these ones are colors that are found in the natural environment of the wildlife that you're there to see. So they're not spooked or shying away on this here. Also, a windbreaker or a fleece, light fleece might be good in the mornings because those morning safaris there, it can be cooler before it warms up respectively there. Visa and MasterCard all throughout this part of the world. We do recommend, having some local currency for South Africa, Botswana, respectively. As you can see, US dollar is widely used as the form of currency throughout Zimbabwe. Our tour managers, they are the experts here in the destination. Our tour managers, people rave about them because they're really essential to our journey. And again, this is Samantha. She might not be one of those individuals right there that will be guiding, but her breadth of knowledge really is an essential part of what will make our African journey exceptional.
Guide tours with Colette. When I first came in, I was only 25 years old. I think I've done almost 900 trips taking you out on safari. I don't even look at it as a job, it's my passion. So we'll take you into the wilderness and get to connect with nature, connect with our people, learning about our culture. I want to introduce you on what Africa is really about. And that's what I've done most of my life. I've literally spoken to travelers that they've been wanting to come for 30 years and you're finally here. And when you see your first impala, I see your faces. It's like a picture perfect painting. The beauty, reminding yourself, wow, I'm really here in Africa. That's the experience I get every time I go on safari.
My bags are packed after watching that right
Guide
there,
tour.
as you can see. So as you can see on this here, our day on the safari, how it kind of flows out is that we might have the way that usually happens is the morning game drives roughly start about 5:30, 6:30 or so in the morning. And that's when the animals, even some of the nocturnal ones from the night before, are already out here as well. And that's going to allow us to be able to see the wildlife, in its natural state here as well, which is ultimately important on that. The lodges that we're going to have, they usually will have coffee and tea already ready for you as well on this, ready to go. And usually some breakfast, for those early risers as ourselves, before we jump into our vehicle and then we enter that other kingdom altogether here. Different modes of transportation. We'll be using boats. We'll be using open-sided safari vehicles, as you saw with that tiered seating, that kind of amphitheater style seating. There's no bad seat, as you can see on that. Everybody has a window view, so to say. But the safari guides that you're going to get to know, they're going to show us where the wild things are. They're in constant communication with their fellow trackers here to ensure that we get the prime wildlife experience here as well. Then what we do is we usually will come back for downtime and lunch. And again, a lot of these hotels and properties are going to be having, amenities on sites from spas to, other self-care wellness areas, maybe even pools here as well. And yes, you can, take advantage of those amenities that the hotels have to offer. From there, what they'll do is usually we'll have, lunch and even sometimes an afternoon late tea before we then get out to do a game drive, usually there in mid-afternoon on that. And then, of course, it's sunset dinner, seeing that here. And usually that lunch, I'll tell you, is pretty substantial just because of, wanting to make sure that we're maximizing our time out there in the bush. All right, so our journey begins, as I said, here in Johannesburg, South Africa. And again, if you're flying out of alternative air gateways, that's something that we can handle here for you. Vibrant city revolving around that modernity, the mining gold history here, and we're using Johannesburg really as a gateway to our exploration into the wild. And that's what we're going to be doing. Our next day here is we're going to be flying here to Victoria Falls. Again, this awe-inspiring natural wonder of the world. And when we arrive, we're going to be checking into our lodge, which is an African tent camp, which I'll show you in my next slide, with all the amenities of a luxury resort. But before I do that, let me get you a little video here of Victoria Falls.
When you look at Victoria Falls, you know it's on everybody's bucket list. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The amount of water that's flowing over, you can hear it roar in thunder. We call the Victoria Falls Mosi-oa-Tunya in our local language, which means the smoke that thunders. It's an experience that comes with the story of the great Dr. David Livingstone. The rainbows are just phenomenal because they cover the falls. It's an experience that travelers they mesmerized.
So here, this is the wallow, which I just mentioned to you earlier. Again, we're going to be landing, getting out here to Victoria Falls here. And then from here, this is our lodge. It's an eco resort. Its purpose not only to provide guests with an incredible experience, but also to conserve Africa's wilderness and its wildlife for the local communities and future generations. So here, the wallow is really, really transformative with its sustainable travel and its ideas here. So they do heating through solar means. They also will have an organic vegetable garden. We use recycling plants nearby here as well for this, and a plastic-free philosophy. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but anyways, here. It's really a place to get comfy, providing this inviting place to rest your head with luxury suites that offer a front row seat to wildlife. It's situated on the riverbanks here, with each suite, again, raised beneath the shade of an ancient trees here. Uninterrupted safari views literally from your private balcony here. Has an ensuite bathroom, private sitting room, viewing deck here, and an private outdoor shower presents another sweet spot to observe the untouched wilderness. So again, just some of those creature comforts, as you can see right here. It's a great place to meet fellow guests, take out time to learn about the lodge, or maybe enjoy a cocktail here at the Wallow Bar. There's a private deck space that's going to provide us an opportunity to relax and enjoy nature and spy on wildlife. And then, of course, there's the pool, where you can just enjoy, have a relaxing swim, or just chill out with a book, or just relish in the opportunity of being surrounded by all the wilderness there. As I told you, and seeing this, being at a place like the power of Victoria Falls here, again, located here on the Zambezi River, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, named, of course, after Queen Victoria. This here borders Zambia as well as Zimbabwe, and known as, which Samantha just mentioned, as the smoke that thunders. Our next day here, we're going to embark on a experience of a lifetime, and that is going to be where we're going to go to an elephant sanctuary here, greeting the African elephants here, spending time interacting with them in their own habitat, and learning about some of their unique behaviors.
It was remarkable. But just being that close where they live.
What a beautiful way of experiencing them and their personality.
It's magic. They're gentle giants. And to have that opportunity, I can't imagine any other place that you would get that.
So the sanctuary's mission is to protect both orphaned as well as injured elephants here, as well as those that are in the wild. And they believe that the elephants, they belong in the wild, and their goal is to really ensure that many animals return as possible to this wild environment. So again, their focus is rescue, rehabilitate, and release. We will then have an impact moment here as well at the Wildlife Trust here in Victoria Falls. We'll be learning about their programs that have had a positive impact on the local communities and animals themselves. And after you've worked up an appetite, we'll travel to a township where you're going to enjoy a simple home-hosted lunch with a local family here as well. Then this evening here, what we're going to have is a sunset cruise optional tour here on the Zambezi River. It's done during free time, so you're not missing out in lieu of doing anything else. But here goes for $75 per person, and we'll set sail on the majestic Zambezi River. This is, again, another pinch me bucket list moment right there. Finding ourselves surrounded by amazing views during one of the most magical times of the day, sunset. It's the fourth largest river on the continent of Africa here, and it is a lifeline for crocodiles, hippos, elephants, and a variety of wildlife. We'll be welcomed aboard with a glass of champagne, toasting to the start of our scenic adventure. And then we will enjoy an all-inclusive bar menu and complimentary hot and cold snacks as we sit and gaze at the calm waters of the river. We'll be getting our cameras ready, our cell phones and all that stuff with all the devices as the sun sets and it fills the sky with a warm glow. Remember, the best camera is the one right between your temples, is your eyeballs right there. We will have from here dinner on the Zambezi afterwards here all together here on the shores of the Zambezi River, which is something you just can't do very often. And our next morning, we're going to be starting the day with a traditional rural homestead. We're going to be meeting the village chief. We'll be learning more about the traditional living ways here in this part of Africa. And then we'll have a road transfer from Victoria Falls over to Chobe National Park here in Botswana. Travel time about an hour and a half or so. And so as I mentioned here as well, we will be learning about some of the different wildlife here in the area, and of course meeting that chief and the locals here. This shot here is showing you is of course of Botswana and Chobe National Park. Of course, this is the water buffalo as we see right here. And again, a rare opportunity of seeing some of these large herds again of both buffalo, elephants, and more. This national park is home to a rare Doppel opportunity for us. We're going to both have a safari on both land and on water. So here we're going to have that safari cruise out on the Chobe River here. Opportunity of spotting elephants and hippos that are going to be lingering and swimming here in the shores. Again, look to those low-lying branches for resting birds, scouring the water's edge for those tasty morsels. Or maybe some crocodiles that are spotting, or that are out and sunning in the sun here. But a little video here on the hotel that we're going to be staying at. This is the Chobe Marina Lodge here as well, and lots of little treats and things like this here, which I'll show you in my next slide coming up here that are going to be available for us at breakfast time here. So we're not roughing it in any way, shape, or form on this amazing journey here through Africa. As you can see right here, some of the different 4x4 vehicles that we've got there, again, with the elevated seats. Each of our visits that we have here, we're going to be also making our way. We have each of our spotters, and of course, we have guides in each of the vehicles here as well for us. Some of the things that we're seeing here, again, very diverse ecosystems here, unparalleled biodiversity here, with just so much. And that's why we wanted to encourage us here to, or I should say, heavy do Botswana on this because of the fact of how we're seeing and what we're seeing in this destination right there. So, as I mentioned, some of those treats, again, we're not going to be roughing as you saw from that last picture there. And again, on our game drive here, possibly, the opportunity of seeing the lion kings weaving their way through the thick grass, the elephants, the zebras, the giraffes, the impalas, the hyenas. Great opportunity here as well in Chobe. We will then have a choice on tour where you can do one thing, your traveling companion can do the other. That was kind of highlighted a little bit in that video that you just saw right there. But One is going to be either, again, doing this in the open air vehicle, spotting animals roaming in the sun here, driving over the land here. Or the other option is, again, to head out via the river, look for hippos, splashing waters, or the birds that are fluttering overhead. We'll all together gather here for this unforgettable chef-hosted dinner this evening here in a traditional braai, which is a Afrikaans word for grilled meat. Afrikaans is one of the 11 national languages of South Africa. And the closest to the word braai in English North American would probably be barbecue. Again, local delicacies and favorites here as well. You won't go hungry, you won't go thirsty on that. So here, we've got, again, just to show you where we've been, we spent our time up there at Kasane there, we're at Chobe National Park, and now we are going to now make our way down back to South Africa here to Pilanesberg National Park area here on this. So from here, we get into the area known as the Big Five. And again, home to the lions, the elephants, the rhinos, the buffalo, as well as leopards. Over 7,000 animals, 360 species of birds here at the Pilanesberg National Park here, this game reserve set within an ancient crater where the lions still reign as kings on this here. Really unique terrain as well. We've got savannas, we've got rivers, we've got wide open spaces, and much more here on this. We'll venture out to see those Big Five in 4x4 vehicles here across those vast marshlands and craggy landscapes here as well. Other than those wild, those Big Five, we may also see wild dogs, cheetahs, hyenas, and foxes, believe it or not. We'll have a traditional African sundowner here in the evening. Again, watching as the sun disappears beyond the mountains here as well. And this is going to be where we put our head to the bed at the Ivory Tree Game Lodge here for the next 3 nights here in the heart of Pilanesberg National Park Game Reserve. Here, again, with the Amani Spa, which Amani means peace in local language. The philosophy is all about creating inner peace and restoring balance and harmony to your mind, soul, and body. There's that self-care coming in there. Treatment rooms that are set up on stilts with those uninterrupted views, as we see right here over the African bush. And it's not a bad place to relax, I'll tell you. Here, we will then, our next day before sunrise, in the open expanse here of the national park, we'll drive out here for our search for creatures, both great and small, via our 4x4. Here, again, we'll have a afternoon game drive here, also taking in the big cats, preparing for their hunt. And again, back at the lodge here, at the evening here, we'll indulge in a bush dinner. Again, allowing our mind to wander as we stare up in the sky in awe, away from the light pollution there. Great opportunity of seeing the Southern Cross, which is you can only see in the Southern Hemisphere, which is also on the Australian flag. And other different constellations here. Our next day, we'll discover the wildlife around us here with another full day here at Pilanesberg National Park. In the morning and in the afternoon game drives, we'll continue on our search for the Big Five with those local animals here, like cheetahs and the giraffes here, but also take in the mega biodiversity here of the bird life here out in the bush. You never know what you're going to find out here as well. And your pictures just don't do this place justice at all. From here, what we'll do is we'll be boarding a flight from Johannesburg, and we'll be making our way to Cape Town, South Africa here, where the winelands of the Western Cape await us right here. We are not at the time of harvest time just yet. That'll happen in late February, early March. But here we'll be, seeing the grapes already well growing here in this area as well. This is where we get out here at Somerset West, located in the famous wine region here, also known as Stellenbosch region here as well. It overlooks majestic False Bay. We'll settle in for a 2-night stay here amongst the rolling vineyards, the historic Cape Dutch architecture, and more. And our next day, we'll be sipping those South African specialties with a full day exploring the country's winelands as well. From here, we'll be starting in the Stellenbosch Valley here, having a tasting at our first winery of our day. It's known for its Pinotage, which is a Pinot Noir blend that's both has a both fruity as well as oaky undertones to it as well. And here, that being said, we'll be also making our way over to Franschhoek, which is the Afrikaans term for French corner. This was founded back in the late 1600s, early 1700s by the French Huguenots. So there's some French influence here. You also have the Dutch influence, and that's why we have that term, that language, Afrikaans, which again is basically a blend of Dutch as well as local language on it. We'll again have time to take this all in. We'll have a second winery visit here in the afternoon, and then we will cap off the evening with a dinner featuring local sourced ingredients here as well. From here, we say hello to Cape Town. Again, the eclectic cultural mecca here that captivates us at every turn. It is the oldest city here in the country. It's nicknamed the Mother Country. It was established by those Dutch back in the mid 1650s. And here again is known for its natural beauty, beautiful beaches, blue oceans, lush green mountains, and more. And here we'll be exploring both the Victoria and Alfred waterfront here, which is a hotspot here in Cape Town here. From its heritage sites to its markets and shops and restaurants here, it is one of the most compelling destinations in South Africa. And then what we'll then do is whisk away to the top of Table Mountain via cable car, weather permitting, of course, here, taking in Cape Town, Lion's Head, historic Robben Island here. And again, we'll talk about this here. Again, the views unprecedented here. We'll talk about Robben Island. That was where, of course, Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for nearly 2 decades of the 27 years that he was in jail. But here, this mountain here, over 1,400 types of plants just on the mountain, and Table Mountain here believed to be over 500 million years old. Here we'll also then return to the area of Table Bay, and we'll be passing through the Moorish Malay quarter here, where you had some Malaysian influence that came in, immigrants here, and again, very brightly colored houses here, and much more. We'll be seeing the lighthouses. Of course, our next day here, going out to the southern tip of Africa. This is the southwest tip of Africa here at Cape Point. We'll see those rocky outcrops here. We will then make our way here, down the mountain here towards the Cape of Good Hope. It was originally called the Cape of Storms because of the rocky water here, but that didn't sound good. So they called it the Cape of Good Hope here. Of course, labeling a more optimistic way of the European trade route here to the east. We'll then make our way to Boulders Beach for the rarest of black tie events. This is a rendezvous with the endangered African penguins here. Over 3,000 birds here within this colony here. It just started with 2 breeding pairs back in the early 80s and has been extended over these last 4 decades or so. And then tonight, we're the honored guests at a Cape Townian family's home. Over dinner, we're going to exchange stories, get to know what everyday life is like here in Cape Town as well. So again, having a full day of leisure here in Cape Town here. There'll be plenty of things for you to do and see and explore. We will have a farewell dinner that evening here with, again, specialties and delicacies amongst others. And as our trip comes to an end, again, an unforgettable safari adventure here throughout Southern Africa with South Africa, Victoria Falls, and Botswana here. 8 different safaris throughout our journey here. Again, multiple nights here with authentic tent camps here, luxury resorts, and much more here. Joining a local family for a home-hosted lunch, taking in the dense concentration of animals in Chobe National Park, meeting the locals here in Zimbabwe. Each day has a wow. This trip just gets better and better and better and better and better. Simply put. If you want to come in a couple days ahead of time to this part of the world, we do have a pre-tour extension to Dubai. Goes for $15.99 per person, double occupancy. As a solo traveler, limited amount of solo spaces on this trip in its entirety, as well as on this standalone or on this pre-tour, $18.99 for the solo space on it. This is a hosted experience where there's going to be a local representative or two that's going to reveal more of what Dubai has to offer, a mix of both independent exploration and guided sightseeing and experiences. Here on this here, we're going to arrive into Dubai, have the time to relax, explore this dynamic cosmopolitan city here. one of the seven Emirates of the United Arab Emirates here. Dubai is a part of the Emirati right there. It is also known as the shopping capital of the Middle East on this here. We will then take in a 4x4 vehicle for a light sand dune drive during the desert on our next day here. Really a thrill of a lifetime as we do the dune bashing here. And then stop at a flamingo hide where we're going to see wild flamingos mingling right there in their sanctuary. From here, we will then visit the Al Fahidi National, I should say, historical neighborhood here, where a local guide is going to bring us on a walking tour to see the sights, and along the way, stop at a coffee museum before we head on to a cultural center here of understanding. We'll have a Arabic lunch followed by a Q&A session hosted by a local, and the rest of our day is going to be yours at leisure to enjoy. Our following morning, we'll be visiting the Dubai Museum, the oldest existing building in Dubai, before we head to another museum located here on the waterfront. We'll be crossing the creek via a private abra, which is the local boats here, and visit the spice and the gold souk here, and getting a local look at the local life here at the market here and the culture found in Dubai. Here we will be visiting this souk, as I just mentioned here to you again. Everywhere the glint of gold and spices and all this is just absolutely spectacular. We will have an optional tour to the Burj Khalifa, which is the world's tallest building, as you can see right here as well. And again, just a wow for sure. Again, whether you're doing the pre-tour to Dubai or you're doing the standalone trip here to Africa, we do have on all of our air-inclusive bookings here with Colette, we do have our hometown pickup available. Again, it can be also available for some of those other air gateways as well. Personalization, if you're looking to upgrade to maybe a premium economy or business class, let us know. We do have rates available. We talked about couple of the optional excursions that are available there for you as well. But again, just reach out and we will make this dream come a reality. One thing for all of you I recommend is to get our cancel for any reason insurance, which is a policy that if you need to use literally to the day prior, full money back refund. Sick cat, bad hair day, bad hair life, hangnail, hangover. It really is the peace of mind that you can't put a price tag on. While on tour, you're also covered. Medical assistance, evacuation, baggage loss, delay, theft, trip interruption. As I mentioned, with this, you don't need insurance until you need insurance. This is really that security, just in case if you need it, you've got that coverage. Note, up until the 30th of March in 2025, if you have to cancel for any reason, you're going to get everything back, including the insurance. From the 1st of April to the day prior to get everything back minus the insurance. But then again, that's why you have insurance. If you traveled with Colette in the last few years or towards future travel here with Travel Brilliant, we have additional savings here as a way of saying thanks. So we'll have that taken off of a later invoice. When you do fill out your registration form, it does need to match out what's going to be on your passport. And so if your middle name is spelled out on your passport, make sure it's spelled out on the registration form. We look to have a validity of about 6 to 8 months. So we would recommend for you to have your passport to be valid till probably August of 2025, just so that there's no issues or funny business getting into these destinations. Also here, when we do get into places like Zimbabwe here, and in other stretches here in Africa, we may have also a visa to have there. So we have a for Zimbabwe, it's a entry cost. It's $45 for U.S. citizens as of this time. It's something that you can only purchase upon arrival in cash, and again, that can be done in U.S. funds on that. For these areas here for South Africa or for Zimbabwe, is that we would recommend here that, again, you have multiple pages open in your passport here. For South Africa alone, they have to be facing each other here for entry, and there's no problem to enter South Africa otherwise. They've got some little funny rules. Anyways, let's get back to the fun stuff. To find out more about this trip, take a look at our trip dedicated web link, which is at http://gateway.gocolette.com/link/1302532. From there is that we do have our sign up now button on this. And then what we have going on with it is that it brings you right up to our page. The sign up now information right up at the top over the right-hand side is where we also have here our information to reach out to Denise at Travel Brilliant. Below the highlights, it's going to have also the know before you go information, more information about the the extensions, more information about voltage and all those little things that you might ask, it's all listed right there. So this is really, really handy. I'll have that link for you at the end. It's turnkey. If you click that sign up now button, if you have any dietary restrictions, if you have any special requests that you have, please let us know, because we want to make sure that we're able to accommodate there for you well in advance. Here's the breakdown on everything. Your deposit, it's $698. At the time of deposit is when the cancel for any reason insurance is due, which is $699 on this here as well. So that's going to make it $1397 respectively on that. Deposits are due by the 30th of March. So again, lock your spot in. This is a small group opportunity here as well, and limited spacing. Final payment is not going to be due until the end of September, September the 30th. So on this here, this rate here includes, it's $87.99 per person, double occupancy. With that, it includes the transfers from Buffalo to Toronto, round trip air from Toronto, your interflights within Africa, your airport to hotel transfers, your hotels, your porterage. We have nearly 30 meals included on this, 29 meals, and of course the tour manager. This again, is $87.99 per person double. As a if you're flying out of LAX, it's $86.99. If it is out of Buffalo, it's $400 higher. If you can't make it across the border there, it's $91.99 respectively on that. Again, with the insurance there, great value on this. And again, a no-brainer. Reach out to Denise for more information, 716-417-7824, or Denise at travelbrilliant.net, or of course our web link, http://gateway.gocollette.com/link/1302-532. We will see you there in Africa to ring in the new year, December 29th, 2025 to January 12th, 2026, with Travel Brilliant and Colette on exploring South Africa, Vic Falls, and Botswana. Thanks to you.